The Christmas spirit had filled Elara's small house, but instead of enjoying the smell of gingerbread and the twinkling lights, the 10-year-old was frowning at her textbook. The holiday break had just started, and Elara needed to finish her history homework before dinner. Woof, grrr. Under the desk, Goldy, the big fluffy golden retriever, was curled up, whining softly. He nudged his wet snout against his little owner's ankle, signaling that he wanted to play. "Not now, Goldy," Elara whispered, without looking up. "I have to study. Later, okay?" But later seemed like an indefinite amount of time to Goldy. Elara continued to concentrate on her writing. Another disappointed whine escaped him, and Goldy decided that if he couldn't play with her, he would create his own fun. With the abundant energy of a young dog, Goldy began a messy operation. The first target was the thick rug beneath Elara's feet. Goldy used his teeth to gently grip a corner, shook his head back and forth, and pulled, turning the rug into a messy pile of crumpled fabric. Next was the reindeer-patterned fleece blanket draped over the chair. The dog leapt up, pawing and wrestling with it, transforming the blanket into a tangled, coiled mass like a mini, chaotic snowdrift. Goldy surveyed his handiwork and sniffed contentedly. At least the room looked more fun now. However, the joy of playing alone didn't last long. Goldy circled the table, looking lazily at his owner. Elara was still absorbed in her work, her eyebrows furrowed in concentration. Goldy gently rested his large chin on Elara's lap, letting out a dramatic sigh. "I said no, Goldy." Elara smiled faintly, placing her hand on his head, but quickly withdrew it to continue writing. Goldy noticed his owner writing on a different piece of paper, not the homework sheet. That paper had a small drawing of a Christmas tree in the corner. Curious, he pressed his nose close, inhaling the scent of ink and paper. On the paper, Elara was writing, "My name is Elara. This year, I have been good at school and helped my parents. Dear Santa, I wish for a new set of paints and an exciting adventure book under the Christmas tree. I will leave a small box of cookies and a glass of milk for you." It was a letter to Santa Claus. Goldy's eyes lit up. Elara wanted gifts. The dog felt a strong urge. Elara had been sad because she couldn't play, and now was the time for Goldy to do something about it. If Santa could bring joy to his owner, then Goldy could too. He would be Santa's little helper. With newfound determination, Goldy turned around and began his gift preparation mission. Goldy's plan was simple. Find the things Elara liked, or the things Goldy thought Elara liked, and wrap them up. Goldy's first treasure was an old, well-chewed tennis ball. He found it under the sofa, where it had been forgotten. The second was the squeaky rubber duck that Goldy hadn't touched since last week. The third, and perhaps the most magnificent, was a lost green wool sock that Elara used to keep her feet warm in the winter. Now came the difficult part, wrapping the gifts. Goldy sneaked into the storage room and bit a roll of old newspaper, dragging it into the middle of the room. He placed the tennis ball and the duck on the paper, then tried to use his front paws to roll them up. Unfortunately, the newspaper was too slippery, and Goldy's paws were too clumsy. The paper tore, the ball bounced away, and the rubber duck kept protesting with a squeak every time Goldy touched it. After a tiring struggle, the result was 3 disastrous gifts. The tennis ball was loosely covered in a crumpled piece of newspaper, looking like a half-eaten paper sandwich. The wool sock was partially stuffed into one of Elara's old shoes, which Goldy considered a gift box, and the rubber duck was completely unwrapped, simply lying next to a ball of ribbon tangled like a bird's nest. Nevertheless, Goldy felt they were about 70% complete. One more thing was missing. The dog ran into the kitchen, where a box of fragrant butter cookies, a treat both Elara and Goldy adored, was kept. Goldy used his nose to nudge the box open and gently, skillfully, somehow extracted 4 golden cookies. He carefully placed them next to the sock shoe gift as an extra sweet Christmas greeting. The entire gift-giving process had turned Elara's room into chaos, but Goldy, exhausted, collapsed amidst the mess, his tail wagging contentedly. His mission was accomplished. About 15 minutes later, Elara put her pen down. Finished. Finally done. She stretched, feeling relieved. Elara turned around, and she froze. The room was a battlefield. The rug was rolled up, the blanket twisted, and torn newspaper fragments were scattered all over the floor. And then her eyes landed on the items strewn about. An old tennis ball, tucked haphazardly into crumpled newspaper. An old shoe containing a wool sock. The rubber duck. And next to them, 4 of her favorite butter cookies. Everything was lying around a dozing Goldy, who wore a faint, happy smile on his muzzle. Elara knelt down, picking up a butter cookie. She understood immediately. Goldy had seen her letter. Goldy had tried to do something special for his little owner. It wasn't a set of paints, nor an adventure book, but it was the most heartfelt Christmas gift she had ever received. With tears welling up, Elara couldn't help but laugh. "Oh, my silly Goldy," she whispered. Elara hugged the sleepy dog. Goldy rubbed his big snout against her neck, giving her a gentle, loving lick. Elara brought a warm glass of milk and placed the cookies on a plate. She sat down on the floor next to Goldy, leaning against the chair. She broke a butter cookie in half, 1 piece for herself and 1 for Goldy. They enjoyed the treat together, amidst the adorable, chaotic mess Goldy had created. Outside, the first snowflakes of the Christmas season began to fall, and Elara felt an incomparable warmth spreading through the room. It was the warmth of unconditional love. It was the best Christmas gift of all.